Hello, Aries. Hello, Aries. Alright, so this is one of my favorite cards in the deck. This is also one of my favorite numbers. And this card comes up when there is a special moment that is coming for you. And it's going to be one of your absolute favorite moments, Aries. Just like this is one of my favorite scenes from The Office. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. This is one of my favorite numbers. And I didn't even do that on purpose, the number thing. It kind of just happened. So I thought that was a cool coincidence. So this is going to be something cool. It's going to be coincidence. It's going to feel like the universe is, conspiring for you, right? Because this is one of my absolute favorite moments. And it couldn't happen with any other two characters. This moment literally could have only happened with Michael and Holly. And so that's cool. It's going to be a special moment that's made especially for you, Aries. So be on the lookout for all these coincidences that, are going to add up to take you exactly where you have always loved to go. It's going to be a nice little surprise, a nice little excitement. Nice little adventure. Okay, cool. There's a King of Cups and a King of Wands. Cool. King of Wands, you are a fire sign. And the King of Cups. So there's two people. I usually don't... the court cards are some of the most random for me to be able to figure out what they mean for readings, Because so court cards, what they are... is there's a king, queen, there's a knight, and there's a page, right? So to me, they create a circle, right? You start at the page. That's like you starting your adventure. It's kind of like the Fool card, right? The page is the young one, the kid looking, and it's looking at life in that perspective with wonder, with like a kid would with a new adventure, with excitement, not like an adult who has a bunch of trauma, so life becomes a drag. And you tell them new adventures and they say, oh no, I just want to do the things that I'm good at. I just want to do my everyday pattern, and be comfortable. The adults aren't good at new adventures, right? They aren't good at taking life as like a kid with wonder and amazement. Everything, it's more about safety, and being an adult is more about survival and right? It's like two different, totally different type of games. So that is the page, right? The young tackling life like a kid with wonder and amazement, starting something new. And then the page turns into the knight, which the knight is more of a go-getter, right? He has a lot of courage. He doesn't have a lot of fears. He just knows what he wants and he goes and gets it, right? So the page turns into a knight, right? The kid turns into a person that isn't afraid of going after things, isn't afraid of those new adventures. This is living the adventure now, not just starting it, right? And then it turns into a king, and the king is all about setting rules, right? The knight doesn't mind going into battle. The knight doesn't mind going into chaos, but the king, doesn't want that chaos anymore. The king wants to settle down a little bit. He wants some rules. He wants some guidelines. He wants to protect himself. He wants there to be rules established. I'm over here, you're over there. Kind of like growing up. You have good rules. You say if you want to lose some weight, you have to have some rules, guidelines, some diet, a plan, for you to be able to lose weight. As rules, as in no eating fatty foods, right? And that's kind of the king type of energy. After the adventure, it's time to start taking care of oneself and try to establish, so that you can also protect yourself. And then that's the king. Interesting. I went to king because to me it's knight and then queen and then king, and then because the queen, or maybe the queen and king are up there on the same level. I don't know. And the page, that would make the page and the knight on the same level too, though. But But I was kind of just talking about the progression, because it goes, for me the progression goes page, knight, and then the queen, and then the king. Anyways, the queen is the one that takes care, right? The king conquers, and then the queen takes care of the thing that was conquered. Or the queen is the motherly nature type of energy, the one that takes care, you know, the emotional, the one that knows the emotions are like connections between people, right? How we can affect each other, and the queen knows that because knows the connectedness. The king wants separateness, right? The queen is the egg that has the potential of being any person, any human, but the sperm, the king, right, is the one that says this is the one that we're creating. And the egg has that potential of everything, the mom, right? And then the king is the male, the one that says this one that separates everything else and says this one, you know. But the mom includes everything. Okay, I think, there we go. I was losing myself for a little bit, but I think we managed to capture what I was trying to say again. Interesting. Okay, that might happen here in this moment too. So, after being the queen, after learning the ways of the king, right, you eventually get tired of these guidelines, right? Because, I mean, rules are nice, but when the rules are more important than than why they were put in the first place, right? Just like these days now, right? There's laws. Laws are supposed to be there to protect people, right? But now the laws are more important than the people that they are supposed to be protecting. So this is creating not good, you know, not good. It's creating not good. So eventually rules and guidelines don't really work, right? It's kind of better if there are no rules, if you have freedom, but at the same time you understand, right? You have experienced the page, you have experienced the knight, the queen, the king, you know, they all have their own place, their own, you know, why would you want to control them? You know, why would you want to do bad things? You just want to enjoy, right? That's usually what people figure out at the end of their lives, at the end of their adventures, is, oh, that was, you know, you kind of understand a little more. But the point is, right, the rules, guidelines, eventually they get in the way. So it's kind of better if you, instead of having rules, guidelines that you follow, right, it's, you start looking at the moment, you start learning, you start taking the best out of the page, you start taking the best qualities out of the knight, you start taking the best qualities out of the queen, and then you take the best qualities out of the king, right? So sometimes you have rules, you have plans, you know, sometimes you plan things out. Sometimes it's okay to be like the page and just enter an adventure with no knowledge, with just wonder and amazement and excitement, right? Sometimes it's good to conquer, but it's also good to take care of that thing that was conquered, right? So you use the king energy and then also use the queen energy, right? So eventually, after experiencing them all, then you go back to the page, because that's, I think, the best natural, you know, because you have a natural state. So wouldn't it be nice for your natural state to be that of love and awareness and excitement and wonder, you know, instead of like the king, the only thing that you focus on is rules and following the rules, right? So people who don't follow the rules, wow, well, bad. Like the page doesn't see things that way at all. So that's why eventually I feel like you go back to the beginning of the circle, but you create that natural state of as like a kid, but except the page that has all the experiences of the king, of the queen, of the knight, right? And I can use all of those characteristics whenever they need to be used, right? Whenever the situation that arises comes up and you say you need this characteristic, oh, then let's use it, you know, instead of just being one way or the other. Okay, this also feels like Michael is the King of Cups here. I don't know why I explained all that. I don't know why. And then she kind of looks like this King of Wands. So maybe this special moment is going to happen between two people, Aries. So yeah, that's what I was explaining about the court cards. So yeah, so usually when they come up, it's me telling you to embody these type of characteristics, and then most of the time I would read out from these books the characteristics of the King of Cups and the characteristics of the King of Wands, so you know what to look for, you know what to aim for, you know what type of energy, what type of characteristics you want to embody. I always explain them like a video game, like everyone has stats, right? There's different characters with different stats. Some characters are better at defense, some characters are better at attack, at offense, right? Some characters are better at support, right? And their stats reflect what they are good at. So that is what the court cards are, is all the different, one could be the King of Wands is probably good at offense and attacking. The King of Cups is good at mobility, at adapting, right? But this, sometimes they are people, they come up as people, and right now it feels like two people are in this situation. I don't think you need to embody anything. Well, whichever one you feel as yourself, that's probably the one you're embodying. So watch what the other character kind of looks like. What is it? If you feel like yourself in one of these, what made you not pick the other one? Ask yourself, what characteristics does the other one have that I don't, that I can maybe look for in other people, right? Like for example, myself, I am a Pisces, so I am a dreamy type of person. I can think, I have a lot of ideas, right? That's why I have anxiety too, because I think. So but now that I'm a little, I'm more better at this anxiety thing, now I can still think, but instead of the thinking, making me feel bad and me thinking of all of the worst situations that can happen, I can use all of that thinking towards thinking of new things and thinking of new ideas, just having a good time and creating a bunch of, and I have a lot of cool thoughts, a lot of cool ideas that I think would be cool to try to experiment on and try out. But, my opposite sign is Virgo, which is actually something concrete, something earth, something, human, that's all about planning things out, right? So I'm good at creating these ideas, but I'm not good at planning them out. I'm not good at putting them into motion, but I am good at thinking of the ideas, right? So if the smart thing for me that would be to find a partner that can, how would you say it? That can materialize all these ideas that I have, that can help me, put them out into the real world instead of just leaving them stuck in my mind and not knowing how to bring them out, So this is what this feels like. This feels like there's two people, whichever one you felt like you were, now look at the other one. What does that one have that you don't, right? And how can that help you? And how can you help each other? This is, Michael and Holly doing things together, creating this beautiful moment. This is you and someone else, creating this beautiful moment too. Or it could be a project, it could be a baby, I don't know. It could be, it's going to be whatever it is. But what qualities, which one do you think you embody? Well, we're going to talk about the qualities. And what is it do you think that you need? Be that the other one can fill out for you, right? Just like the bees, right? And the flowers, right? The one does what the other one can't, and they kind of complete the cycle, right? The flowers can keep growing because the bees are pollinating them, and the bees can keep doing their job of pollinating because the flowers keep growing, and then it just grows and grows and grows. And lizard. Totality, yeah, just like bees wouldn't exist without flowers, right? Flowers probably wouldn't exist if there weren't bees around. Totality, right? There's two different ones, but together they make a whole. And it's not that they weren't whole without the other, right? They are still whole, but they can do things and create things and keep growing because of the other one, right? Like the male and the female too. That's another example. It's just, male is whole, a female is whole, and together they can keep creating a bunch of cool more stuff. Totality. Guilt. Maybe this is guilty for not having all of the qualities, but not being able to be total yourself, right? Just like I do that with myself. I'm guilty of that. I have guilt that all of these ideas that I have, it's so hard to put them into motion. It's so hard for me to finally stop thinking of all of the things that can go wrong and just stop caring about that and just focus on doing it, right? I am very bad at that. So, but there's no reason to beat myself up for it, right? I mean, at any time we can reset our stat points and put them into whatever court card we would need at the moment, right? Just like I was talking about here. I think this guilt card needs to be read from the book. This is the 8 of Clouds, which is the 8 of the mind, the 8 of Swords. And the 5 is of Fire, which is movement. Guilt is one of the most destructive emotions in which we can get caught. If we have wronged another or gone against our own truth, then of course we will feel bad. But to let ourselves be overwhelmed with guilt is to invite a migraine. We end up surrounded by nagging clouds of self-doubt and feelings of worthlessness to the point where we cannot see any of the beauty and joy that life is trying to offer us. We all long to be better people, more loving, more aware, more true to ourselves. But when we punish ourselves for our failures by feeling guilty, we can get locked into a cycle of despair and hopelessness that robs us of all clarity about ourselves and the situations we encounter. You are absolutely okay as you are, and it is absolutely natural to go astray from time to time. Just learn from it, move on, and use the lesson not to make the same mistake again. Yeah, this is like kind of like when I was explaining myself that I'm not very good at putting my ideas into the real world, right? I could feel guilty. I could keep beating myself up for it, or I can just say, hey, I have this one flaw. I have many others, right? But this one flaw specifically that I am, feeling guilty about. Well, let's fix it. Let's find someone who can help me put them into concrete ideas, or let's figure out how to put them into concrete ideas. Let's not just be stuck and say, oh, I'm a Pisces, so I'm just that way, right? No, of course, at any time we can all just reset our stats and be like, okay, I want to learn the ways of the Aries, movement. Aries is like the knight. Aries is the ones that have the will and the desire to achieve what it is they want, right? That is something I, as a Pisces, as a water sign, I'm not very good at. I'm good at filling a hole that needs to be filled. I'm not good at, charging my way towards what I want and bringing it out, right? But I can learn that way, just because my normal pattern is not to be that way doesn't mean I can't learn that new pattern, right? And because that's us being total. That's me. If I'm stuck in my old ways, right? That's me not being total, because everyone has the ability to learn anything, especially right now with YouTube University, with St. Google that knows all. So yeah, just choose which one you prefer. If you prefer to keep doing it on your own, right? Or if you prefer to have a partner that can fill in what you need, what it is that you lack, then that's the most important part. For you to have fun and be able to do whatever it is you are thinking about, instead of making yourself feel bad and attacking yourself. Yeah, wealth, look at that. As soon as this hurdle is cleared, everything's gonna be fine. The devil, that's cool. Everyone's scared of the devil, but the devil isn't bad. He's just the teacher that gives us the test. It's up to us to pass it. It's up to us to do the right thing. It's up to us to be responsible. He's the one that shows us to be responsible instead of blaming the devil, for us doing something, for, the guilt, whatever this is, right? Let's not blame someone else. Let's not blame the devil. It's you ultimately who decided to do the thing, to be that way, So it's just owning up responsibility. But wealth is on its way. Wealth is... whatever the situation is going to bring a bunch of wealth, is what it seems. You just got to jump this hurdle of guilt and partner up, or learn how to do the thing you're lacking. Whichever one it is you prefer, it doesn't matter. And life will probably surprise you, though. and lead you to the one that will help the most, because that's what matters, right? For you to have the most fun, and to be total, to learn how to be total, to be wealthy as well, right? That's like me being that Pisces, right? The concrete stuff is harder, more difficult for me, right? Just like pricing my creations is a very difficult thing for me. See, I can get help from someone else, or I try to figure out how to do it, right? But it's me being total, is being able to figure out how to do it, no matter how, if it's on your own or if it's with someone else. Yeah. Cool. That feels good. I'm gonna get some last couple of words from the Oracle deck, and it looks like just one wants to pop out for this. I usually do two. 36, cool. Yeah, that guilt. This is that guilt, right? After you've discovered that maybe you have this flaw, or you lack this thing, or something. But this is I can just sit here and cry. If you want to take a pause moment, just sit there and cry. Don't be afraid to just sit there and cry. Right? Don't be afraid to let it all out. You're gonna feel better. The important thing is that you discover and understand what is going on. Right? If it is that you're doing a mistake, or if it is that you're lacking something, just face it. Let your emotions tell you the information that needs to be heard. Yeah, see, this feels like it goes along with the guilt, right? But at one point, your emotions will keep coming back, because they keep, poking the bear, because they aren't being heard. So as soon as they are heard, as soon as this cry comes out, I promise you will understand it better. You will feel relieved. You will start moving along, right? Instead of being stuck, you will move along, just like with life. Life keeps moving. It goes from day to night, right? It keeps on moving, and then it will go into night again. But then it goes back into day. That's the totality talking, right? So crying is part of our emotions. It makes ours total. Doesn't mean that crying is bad. All right, Aries, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this helped. I hope you had a good time. If you did, please help me as well with a like. Comment on the video on any concerns, any questions that you have, anything that was talked about, anything that you would like to talk about. And subscribe if you would like to keep hanging out. We try to have fun here while we learn about life. So thank you for being here, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.